Hi, this is Miss Aston. We're going to focus on adding value to line. We're going to think about our light source and where is that light coming from. Value is a basic element of art that refers to gradual changes of lightness or darkness of a color. It is created when a light source shines upon an object, creating highlights, and it also forms shadows and cast shadows. Note the different values in the hand holding the light bulb. Where the hand is the lightest, that's where the light source is hitting it. The further away the light source is, the darker the values become. When we look at value, it doesn't matter what color the object is. It can be a white object, a black object. It can have color in the object. It's still going to be the same principle. Wherever the light source hits it is going to be the highlight. And in most cases, that highlight is really light, almost white. And then you're going to have several different tones along the way until you get to the darker ranges. So the parts that are in the most shadow are going to be really dark and sometimes almost black. If you notice on the apple at the very bottom, even though we know the apple is red, it is almost black underneath. There are many different drawing techniques to incorporate value within the artworks. There's a smooth blend, which has this gradual, smooth transition from light to dark. There's also a hatching, which is a series of parallel lines. Cross-hatching, where those lines crisscross at some direction. Stippling, which is controlled dots. And scumbling, which is a random scribble. Regardless of what type you use, it's always best to follow the contour of the object and to get that real illusion of form and depth within your artwork. M.C. Escher was a famous Dutch graphic artist who mathematically inspired types of printmaking like woodworks, lithographs, and mezzotints. His work of art, Drawing Hands, is a perfect example of taking a line drawing and creating form through shading. If you look closely at the artwork, there is literally a line drawing of the shirt cuffs and hands, and then light highlights and dark shadows along with a variety of tones are added to create the realistic looking form of hands and the pencils. The work of art Reptiles is another good example of how adding proper value gives the illusion of the reptiles coming off of the page. Again, you can see the flat surface without the shading, and the reptiles come to life and crawl out of the tessellation and over the book and back into the drawing. Adding value to these line drawings change the look of the artwork. Artists use a variety of lines to create different looks and emotion in their art. Vincent van Gogh was a Dutch post-impressionist painter who is one of the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art. His drawings and paintings both have a linear quality to them. In this image, you can see where he has used the hatching method to create value changes in his artwork. Rembrandt was a Dutch draftsman, painter, and printmaker. As an innovative and prolific master in three media, he is generally considered one of the greatest visual artists in the history of art and the most important in Dutch art history. He is most known for his painting use of light and shade. Within all of his media, he used a variety of shading techniques throughout his works. Looking at this self-portrait, his use of marks on the face looks a little like fur close up, but from further away it creates this illusion of soft shades on the skin. David Hockney is an English painter, draftsman, printmaker, stage designer, and photographer. As an important contributor to the pop art movement of the 1960s, he is considered one of the most influential British artists of the 20th century. In this drawing, there is a minimal use of line, primarily the hatching method. However, he still reaches a good range of values and is able to create form. Albrecht Dürer was a supremely gifted and versatile German artist of the Renaissance period. He was a brilliant painter, draftsman, and writer, though his first and probably greatest artistic impact was in the medium of printmaking. Dürer revolutionized printmaking, elevating it to a level of an independent art form. He expanded its tonal and dramatic range and provided the imagery with a new conceptual foundation. Here are two of his works to demonstrate his skill in line drawing with tonal additions. Kathy Kollwitz was a German artist who worked with painting, printmaking, and sculpture. Her most famous art cycles, including The Weavers and The Peasant War, depict the effects of poverty, hunger, and war on the working class. Her use of line in her works really gets the emotions across to her viewers. You feel their suffering and anguish in some of her works. This is something to really think about as an artist. How will my use of line impact my viewer, and is this the message that I want to come across and in the way I intended it to? That is something that you also need to think about as an artist. We are going to take a look at some more contemporary artists and see how their approach changes from the realism that we have been seeing. Take note of how you as the viewer are interacting with their works of art. Ellen Gallagher is an American artist whose media includes painting, works on paper, film, and video. This work of art has a completely different effect on the viewer than the harsher line work that we saw of Kathy Kollwitz. This work shows movement and has a flowing feel. The line is more dense in areas to create the darkest values of form, yet softer and brighter in contrast to that to once again create that illusion of form. Robin O'Neill is an American artist known for her large-scale graphite on paper drawings. The line work here is soft, but still reaches a large range of tonal changes. Theodore Rozak was a Polish-American sculptor and painter. This drawing is actually a study for a sculpture. The values added to this artwork and add form so the sculptor can visualize the form in 3 dimensions. Charles White was an American artist known for his recording of African American related subjects in paintings, drawings, lithographs, and murals. This image shows Harriet Tubman as a revolutionary woman in the workers' movement. The line quality displays a sense of strength, but also softness at the same time. Graham Sutherland was an English artist whose work was much inspired by landscape and religion. While planning this picture, Sutherland became fascinated by thorn bushes, whose thorns reminded him of the crucifixion of Christ as he painted a series of thorn trees and thorn heads which paraphrase the crucifixion. In this image, the use of sharp lines alludes to pain. Jose Clemente Orozco was a Mexican muralist who created bold works of public art that challenged social norms and conventions about race and nationality and was heavily influenced by the brutality of the Mexican Revolution. He uses bold, sweeping lines to create a dramatic and powerful sensation. Jean-Michel Basquiat was an American artist of Haitian and Puerto Rican descent. He is known for his raw, gestural style of painting with graffiti-like images and scrawled text. He became notorious for a wildly expressive art underpinned by savage and social commentary. Christian Scott is a young, up-and-coming contemporary artist. He graduated high school in 2016. His work has a contour line quality with the addition of color to enhance the form. Sophie Kipner is another young contemporary artist that has taken blind contour drawings and turned them into professional high-dollar art. We will watch a video about her exhibition and a demonstration of her work.